Welcome to the session on Futurepreneurship, the convergence of future thinking and entrepreneurship in the next decade. This is presented by Dr. Dana Marduk. Dr. Marduk is a trailblazing writer and visionary at the forefront of futurepreneurship. With a diverse background and a keen eye for opportunities in the ever-changing business landscape, Dr. Marduk combines the entrepreneurial mindset with futures thinking to shape the world of tomorrow. You can learn more about him at his website at danamarduk.com. This session will last 60 minutes and it will be recorded. My name is Caressa. I'm here to provide any technical support you might need. If you have a question or comment, please enter it into the chat or into the Q&A pod, and we'll make sure that Dr. Marduk sees that question. With that, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you so much. Greeting to all participants and a warm welcome to the online session of World Future Studies Federation Conference. So my name is Dana Marduk. I've been a member of World Future Studies Federation since 2018, and I also am founder and CEO of Future Company since 2012, and also a founder of Futurepreneur Society. So today, I'm delighted to share with you my presentation, which delves into the exciting concept of futurepreneurship. This innovative approach represents the convergence of future thinking and entrepreneurship, and I will actually explore its significance for the next decade. So, in the first part of the presentation, I will introduce the concept of futurepreneurship, which is based on 7 fundamental pillars. And after that, I will address a critical question. Why has a traditional entrepreneurship become less effective? And why do we need to transcend it actually to embrace the paradigm of futurepreneurship? So, let's start with the first slide actually, which I have to say before I start that the basis of this presentation comes from my latest book, The Rise of Futurepreneurship, which in the first, I will talk about the pillars, and I will tell you that how these pillars were conceived and why I firmly believe that transition from traditional entrepreneurship to the contemporary concept of futurepreneurship is totally essential. So, over the last 12 years, I've been actively engaged in diverse businesses in different fields. And I've learned a lot from entrepreneurs. And I've had the opportunity to interact with a lot of professional entrepreneurs. But throughout these experiences, actually, I have observed many challenges, that entrepreneurs are faced with. And especially the problem which they have with their mindset. Through these experiences, I've seen that entrepreneurs actually have the lack of seeing the future in a way that a futurist actually can see and understand the future. So I will tell you that how each of these 7 pillars form based on a problem that we had in the traditional entrepreneurial mindset. So let's actually, before I tell you the 7 pillars, I have to mention also that we have 3 categories of individuals that are thinking about in terms of time. Let's say, historians are people who are thinking and studying the documents of the past, and that's why we call them historians. And of course, they have a role and play a crucial role in the preserving our collective memory and then providing the valuable insight about the past, but they are not going to affect anything in the present or future. At the same time, we have journalists that are individuals, professionals who are reporting the daily events, but again, typically they are not taking direct action or influencing the outcomes of the events they report. But at the same time, let's say we have futurepreneurs that I call them the future creators. They represent a distinct breed of forward-thinking visionaries. Futurepreneurs are individuals that not only contemplate and understand the future, but actively engage in shaping it. So these creative minds are not just happy with the simply, predicting the trends and signals, but they take steps, to create the preferred future for themselves and the people around them and even the world they are living in. So we can say futurepreneurs are proactive, leveraging, and entrepreneurial spirit, that they have a kind of strategic thinking, and their vision that they want to make it reality by taking action. So let's now see that what are the 7 pillars of futurepreneurship. Quickly, I introduce them and go through one by one. So the first one, of course, the first pillar is entrepreneurship itself. But as I told you, we have some problems with it. Entrepreneurship has long been celebrated for its pioneering spirit, risk-taking, innovation, but it's somehow behind the changes that now we see in this world, because the world is no longer a linear, and then we are living in a really exponential world that changes are happening quickly. And so we need an update. But unfortunately, I see a lot of entrepreneurs still, they are thinking like 10, 20 years ago. So I think, the technological advancement that we have right now, the global interconnectedness, and then rapidly changing markets, we never observed and see that in the last 20 years that we see it now. So I think as this landscape evolves, entrepreneurs actually must evolve with these changes as well. So let's get started with the definition of entrepreneurship, which everyone knows, but I want to remind you of the changes that later I'll define a futurepreneur and what are the changes. Based on the Oxford Dictionary, a person who sets up a business or businesses taking on financial risk in the hope of profit, we call them entrepreneur. And of course, the biggest businesses of the world in the 20th century were based on the fundamentals of entrepreneurship, like, for example, the companies like Kodak, Nokia, IBM, even Ford, Canon, a lot of other companies in the 20th century were based on the entrepreneurial fundamentals. But the thing is, from 2000 and beyond that, the world really changed so quickly that even those companies actually left behind the changes. So quickly, I want to share with you something that, again, most of you know about, but I want to tell you how entrepreneurs actually fell behind the changes. We in future thinking a lot talk about the VUCA world, but now we have a new concept. We call it Bunny world, which actually it's the emergence of four notions that we tell. Let's say it's brittle, anxious, nonlinear, and incomprehensible. We live in such a world that actually this was introduced by Jamais Casico in 2020, and it talks about the new world that we are living in, that the COVID pandemic can happen, and a lot of businesses actually are not ready for such wild cards. So with mentioning Bunny World, I want to give you some examples that how huge companies like Nokia actually went bankrupted just because they were not ready for this Bunny World. In 2000 and a few years before that, Nokia started to invest $7 billion in the technology of GPS devices, and they wanted to create, let's say, like a GPS box and put it in every car. They spent years on it and then developing the product, but they could not see that this technology of GPS is not going to be in the devices. It's going to be inside our mobile phone, and let's say the cars, and people can share it. So a company called Waze started disrupting this field, and just within few years, we had the GPS on our mobile phone, and almost every driver had it. And the Nokia found out it very, very late, actually, that let's say they don't need to do all those investment. And this was just the first step that made Nokia a company that failed because of not seeing the future. So with this definition now, I have to go to the second pillar of futurepreneurship, which is future thinking. That's why we need future thinking, because even companies with professional consultants like Nokia, they can be wrong about the future and not seeing the future. That's why the traditional entrepreneurship is not functional and working as it used to 20 years ago. Later, I will talk more about the role of future thinking in it, because I'm sure that everyone here has a good knowledge about it. But let's go on to the next example that actually brings the third pillar of futurepreneurship. So we had a company called Kodak. Most of us, we know the generation X and Y. We remember that we took pictures on analog cameras, and surprisingly enough, one of the employees in this company, which was the biggest company of producing chemicals and papers and analog cameras, invented the first digital camera, but they ignored the advancement of technology, and then they thought that this technology is very slow. The quality of the camera was very low, that they even ignored it, and they said that this is not going to be the future of the taking picture. But they were not aware that the changes were exponential. So the quality of the camera from 0.01 is going to become 0.02 and then doubling every year. But they thought that it will take like 10, 20, maybe 100 years to have a really high quality cameras. But they could not anticipate that when we reach the point one megapixel, then after that we will have doubling, and easily within few years, companies actually came with digital cameras and even application like Instagram that could democratize taking picture almost for free. And this was something that Kodak was not aware of, which leads us to the third pillar of futurepreneurship, which is exponential organization. So now a little bit, let's talk about exponential organization, its role in futurepreneurship, and how entrepreneurs were not aware, and still most of them are not aware of this new business model of 21st century. So the concept of exponential organization first time was introduced by Salim Ismail in 2014 by a book with the same name. And now in 2023, they have a second version of it, 2.0, which is much more updated after the pandemic, of COVID-19, and there are a lot of new topics in it. So let's see, what is an exponential organization? EXO is a purpose-driven, agile, and scalable organization that uses accelerating technologies to digitize, dematerialize, democratize, and even demonetize its product and services, resulting in 10x performance, increasing over its non-EXO peers. So as we had exactly in let's say like Instagram, we had the technology of taking a picture from analog to digital. So it digitized this field and industry, and then it made it dematerialized. So we no longer needed a special camera for it, and then made it democratized. It was accessible for everyone, and demonetized it because it was almost free. You had no expense of taking hundreds of pictures with your mobile phone. So this is the, let's say, definition of exponential organization, which still a lot of entrepreneurs, big companies, and organizations are not aware of. But Salim Ismail, as a writer of this book and the founder of this notion, says that by 2030, all of the companies and organizations will be exponential organizations or will not exist. So this is very crucial that entrepreneurs have to pay attention to. Now, a little bit on exponential organization, that what is the foundation of it? It has 11 attributes that we don't have enough time here actually to go through all of them, but very quickly I will talk about the most important one of it, which is MTP. So MTP is massive transformative purpose, and this is again one of the differences between futurepreneurs and entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs used to, or still actually, they define their company by their vision and mission, right? Sorry. So actually, everyone knows that vision is about the company. It's about where the company wants to arrive. But the mission is how they are going to achieve this vision. But it is not about just customers that much. That MTP is about the community and people. In Futurepreneurship, we have MTP, which is about the transformative change that we want to make around the world, we want to make in our environment. And this usually happens by tackling the global challenges around us. Everyone knows that entrepreneurial mindset is about solving the problems, but mostly in the traditional entrepreneurship, it was focused mostly on the company itself. But in exponential organization, the focus is on people, environment, and the world, how we can have a transformative purpose that can affect, for example, 1 billion people. So exponential organization, as you see here, it's based on 11 attributes, which I told you the MTP is the most important one. We have 6 internal and external one. I recommend everyone to go to exponential organization website to learn more about it, especially entrepreneurs. It's so important because we are using technologies. So the 6 attributes is interfaces, what we see actually from that organization. We have dashboards, how we control the whole system. Experimentation, it's a important part, because we need to update ourselves about the changes. The biggest companies right now in the world, they need to update themselves based on the ChatGPT and OpenAI that now is accessible for everyone. It's going to totally change the way that we do the business in the next few years, not 10 years, probably 2 or 3 years. And then autonomy, which is so important because we are not going to have the traditional hierarchy that we used to have in old companies. Then the social technologies, we are using the social media to engage people with our business. On the other hand, we have another 6 attributes like staff on demand. No longer big companies are using their employees like the entrepreneurs 20 years ago. They use the stuff just when they want, on demand experts by online applications that now we see. And then community and crowd, which is the 7th pillar, and later I'll talk more about it, is so important because no company can survive in a long term without forming let's say, powerful community. And also we have algorithms so that it can control the whole system. We have leveraged assets like Airbnb, like Uber, that they are the biggest companies based on exponential organization business model, that they are not using their asset. They are using cars and also let's say, houses of other people, and they leverage their assets. And finally, engagement. So these are the 11 attributes for the 3rd pillar of futurepreneurship. Let's quickly go to the 4th one, which everyone nowadays is aware of. Of course, I say everyone, I don't really mean everyone, because recently I was in a seminar for business people, and I told them how many people know about ChatGPT, how many of you have used it in your company, and it was less than 5%. And it means that still a lot of entrepreneurs are not aware of the power of AI and other technologies, because we are going to have a convergence of different technologies from AI, AR, VR, IoT, nanotechnology, quantum computing, and a lot of other technology. Within just few years, we will have a convergence that nobody can actually see that how it will change the businesses. So the 4th pillar is AI and tech, that every entrepreneur should work on it, should be aware of the changes, because if they are not going to use the AI and technology in their company, they will not exist in the next 10 years. And as Peter Diamandis says, that probably the next $1 billion company will be formed only by 3 people, probably 2 human and 1 AI. And this is something that can be happened, because already we had companies like Instagram with only 13 employees. So this is absolutely something plausible. Now let's go to another problem that entrepreneurs actually have, which makes the 5th pillar of futurepreneurship, which is edutainment. A lot of entrepreneurs are not updated about what is going on around them. So edutainment is an important part, that it's a mix of entertainment and education, because now the new generations like Generation Z and even Alpha, if we think in terms of they are going to work in a company, they're not going to learn like generation X and Y as we did, like reading a lot of books, going to labor libraries for searching. No, they are going to learn by playing games. They are getting bored easily. So the entrepreneurs should create a system so that they can update their employees, and not only them, but themselves even, about the changes that are happening with the edutainment system, which is teaching people based on the community engagement, playing games, and making it fun. And this is how the new generation really would like to learn. Every time I have seminars, I talk to parents, especially, and then teachers, that the old educational system is no longer functional, and children are not going to, it's not going to so much beneficial for them, because, you know, children now from the age of 2 or 3, they have access to internet and tablets and mobiles, and so they are totally a different generation. So this is another important part that entrepreneurs should be aware of. And sorry, this is just a quick introduction, but we have a lot of other parts in each pillar that will not have enough time now to talk about it, but later you can search about it. And the sixth one, which again is another problem that I faced with speaking and talking to entrepreneurs, which recently it's a very hot topic. It's about the health and longevity. Entrepreneurs for years and years, they work for hours, much more than their employees, but they actually take their health for granted. They neglect it. And after the age of 50 and 60, they see that they have to spend a lot of money on their health again. So this is also another important part as a futurepreneurship mindset, that you need to take care of your health, because our body is the biggest asset that we have. And actually, it's just like our business. It's a system that we have to spend, I don't say as much time as for the business that we spend on, but at least we have to spend some time on it, because if an entrepreneur is not healthy, cannot continue, creating new ideas and then continue the company. So healthgivity is, again, I have mixed it with two words of health and longevity, because we are not only talking about, extending the lifetime, right? It's about the health span. We want to live as healthy as possible. And I, again, have defined healthgivity based on 12 pillars, which are very important for every person, not only entrepreneurs, to pay attention to, from high quality sleep, exercise, diet, longevity mindset, and others. And recently, I'm writing another book called Healthgivity Journey, which I see it as a journey, and it's so important. This is a functional, let's say, journey for people who want to take care of their health. So this is also so much important. And finally, we get to the community, the seventh pillar of futurepreneurship, that is also so important, because no company can survive without an active community. And so I need to emphasize on this part, especially because in traditional entrepreneurship, almost we don't see that much involved people in the businesses. So, um, I can say futurepreneurs, understand the power of connecting with like-minded people, and an individual, the industry experts, and diverse networks. So by forging strategic partnership and then tapping into collective intelligence, futurepreneurs can create a vibrant community that, not only this community provides resources and mentorship, but also it can serve as a source of inspiration and resilience. So community is so much important for a business to focus on, and this is, again, a missing point in traditional entrepreneurship. So here is the quickly introduction of 7 pillars of futurepreneurship. Now, in the last 5 minutes, I want to actually talk again about the converging of future thinking and entrepreneurship, and then how in the next decade actually it can influence all the business, and how it can revolutionize the way that entrepreneurs do the business. So as we step into the next decade, actually till 2030 or beyond that, the power of future thinking can transcend the entrepreneurial landscape. Futurepreneurs now are equipped with this dynamic blend of entrepreneurial spirit and foresight, which will play a significant role in shaping the new industries and driving innovation. So futurepreneurs, by actually using the future thinking as a tool, they can navigate the new territories and with confidence, because they have learned about seeing the signals and trends which most of the entrepreneurs are not aware of, and they have never thought about it. So they can use the new technologies, and they can also anticipate the trends and building businesses that are resilient toward the bunny world, as we talked about. So futurepreneurship, in my definition, actually is not just like a concept. It's a transformative force. It's a paradigm shift that all entrepreneurs need to take action on today. Tomorrow will be very late, because changes are happening so much that even, I can say, futurepreneurs, those people who think based on these 7 pillars, even for them is really difficult to stay updated with all these changes. But anyway, I think the entrepreneurial mindset is something that belongs to the 20th century, and it's no longer enough itself without all those pillars that I talked about. So in the next decade, I think we will have the emergence, and we will have, let's say, the rise of futurepreneurs, especially the new generation that already, as I told you, they are very much familiar with most of these pillars that we talked about. And it's going to totally change all the businesses. And finally, I have to just mention a few points that how futurepreneurship, by using future thinking and methodology, can help entrepreneurs. So the first part is anticipating trends. Future thinking involves the kind of proactive identification and analysis of emerging trends, and also weak signals, in this business environment that is changing exponentially. So I think this is not just about simply reaching to the current market condition, and it's mostly about forecasting the future. That's why futurepreneurs constantly can scan the horizon for signals of change, whether it's technological breakthroughs, or maybe shifting in the customers or consumers' behavior, or even geopolitical development. So by identifying the this early indicators, entrepreneurs can gain kind of competitive edge. They are allowed to position their companies to success. If not, it can actually be a huge fail for them. So another important point for futurepreneurs, actually, that can use the future thinking in their businesses is the risk mitigation. Future thinking actually is very effective in risk management in the businesses. Can be used by recognizing the potential risks that, as I mentioned, like Nokia was not aware of the risk of or the changes are happening around them. So that's why they were really much behind. A very small group of people who totally disrupted that field with less money, quicker time, and more efficient. So by recognizing potential risk, futurepreneurs can develop strategies to actually decrease the problems, the risks, actually. And the third part that I want to focus is the strategic planning. So entrepreneurs, by using strategic planning, it enables them to make the decisions that are not just based on the current condition, but it takes account to anticipated future scenarios. This is, again, another important and crucial part, that most of the entrepreneurs, they are not able to think about different scenarios in this changing world. But let me give you an example. For example, a futurepreneur, let's say in the energy sector, for example, they adopt a strategy that balances traditional fossil fuels with renewable energy sources, and they recognize the shift that are going to happen sooner or later, and they have to get ready for it. And we see a problem in entrepreneurial mindset that, they it took a long time for an entrepreneur to actually produce a product and bring it to the market. But now the timeline for bringing a product should be so quick, because the market is changing. And by the time that entrepreneurs bring their product or service into the market, it can be obsolete because of the new technologies. As I told you, like AI, which now a lot of experts say that you can create a company by adding AI to X. It means X can be anything, any field, any industry. So just add AI to it, and it can be a huge business. So there are a lot to talk about it, unfortunately, but I think we already out of time. So we have a few minutes for Q&A. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm ready to take the questions.
Thank you, Dr. Marduk.
Thank you.
One question we have is, in the future, won't AI become entrepreneurs instead of humans, and replacing human entrepreneurs?
Everything is possible. As I told you, now we have a company that their CEO is an AI, and already we have it, right? And now some people talking about having presidents, AI president instead of just human being, because AI can make better decisions, have the broader knowledge, and they don't have the biases that human beings have toward races and, let's say, countries and cultures and all of the things. So I think this is something that entrepreneurs especially need to think about it, that how the presence of AI can affect their business in just few years. Now, I'm not talking about 5 years, because I'm following a lot of people's experts in the AI field, and they're talking about just 1 year. They are saying the next year, the power of AI in all the application will be 1,000 times more than today, just within 1 year. And this is, so strange. So we have to be prepared for it.
Great, thank you. Michael Jackson also is requesting a copy of your presentation, and it looks like he's raising his hand, so I'm just going to allow him to talk.
All right, sure.
Dana?
Welcome.
Yes, Michael.
Very good talk.
Thank you.
But I can tell you that in 3 weeks' time, we will launch exactly what you just said, not in 1 year.
Okay.
And we will be able to use a robot to be able to give us the future of any topic, anywhere, anytime, including risk and opportunity, in just 1 hour, and $99.
Right.
If I had been doing that when I was a CEO 30 years ago, it would have taken me 18 months. It would have cost me at least $250,000.
Right.
And the fact is that I would not have been able to produce what our robot can produce now, even as a CEO at that time, because it didn't know most of these things.
Right.
So if you're around at 3:30, I will be presenting that. And I'd love to have a conversation. I'd love to have a conversation with you afterwards, because I didn't catch most of your presentation, unfortunately.
No
so
problem.
It would be
Thank you.
good if I have a presentation and we can have a chat about it. But I think it's already here.
Yeah,
it's already
exactly.
Here. We already have clients using it. We just haven't launched it to the public yet.
Exactly. There is a famous saying, I just forgot the name, but it says the future is already here. It's just not evenly contributed, right? We still are not aware.
William Gibson.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
William Gibson.
Yes, William.
Yes.
Yes. Right.
And the machine can do that.
Exactly. That's true. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions, maybe?
We don't have any questions at this time. Any further questions?
All right. Okay. Just for the presentation, I think I will put the whole thing, maybe the video later, if we get it from WFSF, on my website, and definitely it will be available on WFSF website, and also the presentation. There are a lot of other topics that my website will be available for everyone. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dr. Marduk.